Got the courage to run. Got the courage to run. Hi, this is Arthur. You're listening to Two Broads Talking Politics. Hope you have the courage to run. Got the courage to run. Got the courage to run.
Hey everyone, this is Kelly with Two Broads Talking Politics. I am on in this episode with Frieda Edgette, who is the founder of Courage to Run, and we're going to talk a little bit about what that is. Hi, Frieda.
Hi, thanks so much for having me, and hello to our amazing listeners.
Yeah, so thank you for joining me. We are recording this on what is a super exciting day when the new Congress is being sworn in. Very shortly here after we finish recording, and record number of women.
Record number of women.
It's an exciting, auspicious day. Let's start with the short version of what is Courage to Run?
Right, yeah, Courage to Run is the nation's first and only of its kind literal run. It's a 5K run and walk and premier party celebrating the rising wave of women lacing up, getting civically active, and running for office. It also, very importantly, elevates the need to be healthy to lead effectively in our fiercely complex civic times today.
All right. Excellent. So we'll wrap back around and talk a lot more in detail about what that means. But first, can you tell me a little bit about your background and what the sort of impetus was to start something like this?
Yeah. So I am a former government affairs specialist, lobbyist, and public health campaign strategist. I ran local, primarily municipal and state public health campaigns in 25 countries across America. I'm from California and worked primarily in the Midwest, in the South, Alaska, Wyoming, places that are geographically, politically, culturally very distinct from where I'm from, and then shifted into a government affairs lobbying capacity, doing a lot of land use work and public-private partnerships. Went on sabbatical to London to earn my master's in organizational and social psychology, and while I was there, had an aha moment that I wasn't meant to lobby, watching being divorced from politics for the first time in a decade, that I was really meant to listen, and quit my job, became a globally certified leadership coach, a neuropolitics professor, and returned to the United States hell-bent on bringing well-being to the political class, and really have been doing that ever since. Throughout my career and personally, I have been very active in the women's political community. Really, the impetus of that was watching Nancy Pelosi become the first female Speaker of the House. I'm actually getting chills right now recalling, just because of the significance of today, where she will once again hold and resume that gavel and assume not only a leadership position in our country, but be the highest-ranking woman and one of the most powerful people, irrespective of gender, in America, leading us forward. So it's quite apropos. And, the beginning of this year, I was just watching the number of women filing to run for office and the number just continuing to go up, going tick, 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 and thought, this is a really big deal. This is like a BFD. And, being a coach, I'm very much focused on what actions can we take, what's achievable, what's impactful, and also knowing how stressful politics is, and that our well-being is the first thing to go, especially during a vigorous campaign cycle, and thought, how can we support these women and really cheer them on to finish strong for success this election cycle? And then I was like, ta-da, courage to run, do a literal run, do a literal run. A little kitschy, but the metaphor has really taken off. And we all know that democracy is the ultimate endurance marathon that has a lot of similarities to campaigning. So in 3 short months, we organized close to 20 civic leadership training partners, very diverse, ranging from focusing on the cultivation of political ambition in young women like Ignite and Running Start, all the way up to those organizations like Vote, Run, Lead, a Center for American Women in Politics, which are the go-to scholarly body that tracks the amazing statistics we have on women in politics in elected office, and organized a 5K in Washington, D.C. that was attended by 500 very diverse politicos and civic believers, Republican, Democrat, Independent, Libertarian, all running united together in celebration of the historic year. And in addition to that, we had what we called satellite runs, which are now being called community runs, in 25 states across the country, with candidates and elected officials, advocates, operative supporters of women, ranging from local school board candidates all the way to congressional candidates, running on the same day, united in support of women running for office, our strengths, our mindset, the physical endurance, the heartfelt vision, and importantly, the courage needed to run for office and thrive in today's civic life. It was quite something. So we're doing it again.
And so when is the run this year?
So the run this year is on Saturday, April 13th, 2019. It's taking place again in Washington, D.C. That's going to be kind of our flagship event. And then we are also building out a robust network of community captains so people can register and run in your community, either as your morning workout, you can gather friends together, and then there's also more extensive runs that are being organized by champions in various communities and states that's now underway as well. So it's kind of a choose your own adventure, and we mail you everything that you need if you choose to run remotely. Your T-shirt, your bib, your medal, and then some fun swag as well, so you can participate and then share your experience on social with the Courage to Run 5K hashtag.
So I love this. It's probably really apropos that we're talking just after January 1st when lots of people have resolutions, maybe to get back in shape. Yeah. But I know so many people that over the past 2 years and just how toxic politics has become, and they're so thinking about it so much that their health has really suffered as a result. I know I have not been working out nearly enough, and you know, my diet has kind of not been great. So I like this idea of sort of taking a moment to sort of physically recharge and take care of yourself, you know, and get that mindset that comes with being more physically fit and prepared.
Yeah, thanks so much for mentioning that, Kyle. You know, one of the things that is core to Courage to Run is really the holistic approach and trying to address the root of what causes a lot of our less desirable behaviors, and that root cause is really stress. And stress and talking politics is a leading cause of stress in America right now. I know Harvard's done some studies in collaboration with the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation, like moving or getting very major life changes, especially as the divide between left and right continues to build. So one of the things that we're trying to do with this is also be incredibly realistic. We've developed a 5K training plan that includes the physicality of training for, yes, a 5K, and then also leadership hacks and skill drills that are all evidence-based, blending neuroscience, mindfulness, and other wellness theories, leadership, authentic leadership practices, social psychology, weaving them into different practices that you can take on the campaign trail or now into governance that range from a matter of seconds to 5 minutes. So they really fit realistically into the day-to-day of people's civic lives. So we're really trying to attack, you know, maybe some people's narratives that might get in the way and interfere with them taking action of, oh, I need an hour. Oh, if I don't exercise 5 times a week for 45 minutes, then screw it. No. You know, 5 minutes canvassing or 20 minutes canvassing is amazing. 45 minutes drawing lawn signs or pictures and things like that absolutely reduces stress. It can be considered like doodling or artistry. So every aspect of Courage to Run, we're really blending that in, asking people what gives them to claim their courage to run in one word, really stating their purpose. We ask people for their campaign theme song and are building up this playlist to boost oxytocin, which is a feel-good hormone, and endorphins and serotonin, those things that really help us thrive, connect as people and communities, as well as optimize our performance, because we know when we're happier and we're healthier, we perform better, our productivity increases, in addition to, of course, very importantly, our sanity.
I think you must be in my house with this whole, if I don't have time to work out for an hour.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. I mean, a lot of it's redefining, what we pursue. I know I'm actually in recovery from a devastating eating disorder that kind of co-opted my life for 15 years and kept me from being authentic and whole. Everything from restriction and anorexia to bulimia, which included exercise bulimia and compulsive overeating and isolating. Now, gratefully, in 7 years of recovery from those horrible behaviors, and they in large part were developed in response to an unskillful way to cope with my organic energy. I'm a very energetic person, as well as stress, and so that's really shifted and informed a lot of my perspective and also the purpose and pursuit that I'm on today.
So speaking of changing perspectives a little bit, I think it's so interesting that this is a nonpartisan event. There's so much in politics today that is heavily partisan, and really a lot of the organizations that train people to run for office, several of them are partisan as well. So can you talk a little bit about this decision to make this a nonpartisan event?
Yes. So at the beginning of last year, again, I mentioned seeing the number of women increase, and as we all know, and as we look at the 116th Congress, we also visibly see that was disproportionately Democratic women. That was one part. The other thing that I was thinking about was how much of the social activations that were taking place were in reaction or opposition to something, and wanted to highlight something that was unifying and incredibly positive, irrefutably positive in these very stressful times, because we need that hope, we need that positivity and connection. And so it only made sense to make it nonpartisan and unite around something that it's completely celebratory, which is women getting civically active and running for office. So one of the objectives here is really uniting around a common mission. And it's been fabulous, the kind of the dual tracks of celebrating women and cheering them on. And especially since we know that there's a confidence gap historically with women, one of the things that made this election cycle so phenomenal is many of these women candidates, contrary to trend of needing to be asked 7 times, didn't need to be asked. They searched within themselves, they talked with their families, and they stepped forward courageously. And then also the importance of being healthy to lead effectively and really expending and releasing in a very healthy way the effects of stress, because it's not only the political dynamic that we are caught in right now, it's also we're at this very interesting apex and confluence of changes that are happening and also causing a lot of uncertainty and a lot of stress, whether that's technological change, geopolitical changes, and what's going on internationally, the future of work, and demographic changes, a lot of uncertainty, and the way that uncertainty is a leading cause of stress for people. And one of the ways to reduce that is through healthy release. So everyone that I've talked to, irrespective of political identification, irrespective of any kind of identification, was, oh my gosh, this is so great. Yes, I need this. We need this. Let's go. And this year we've actually expanded. Last year we had exclusively nonpartisan organizations as our champion partners. All net proceeds from the run go to our champion organizations that are committed to training the next generation of healthy civic leaders. And this year we have expanded that to also include partisan organizations that are devoted to upholding our mission and agree with our virtues of celebrating women, being healthy in mind, body, and society, leading courageously, and that really is about saying no to the rhetoric of division and othering and saying yes to seeking to understand, asking powerful questions, and respecting and engaging in healthy dialogue, and then also championing democracy. So making it as easy as possible to allow people to participate in the civic process, whether that's policy debates, voting, or running for office, understanding that we're a nation in progress and our Constitution says, forming a more perfect union, and we're still along that trajectory. And it's been fabulous, seeing this coalition model the way of what healthy leadership and unified leadership looks like, irrespective of party, united along those four pillars.
So I think most people probably understand how to sign up for a race. So the race that's in DC itself, and we'll link to your website and how they can sign up for that. But can you talk more about these community runs and how people can get involved if they're not in DC?
Yes, fabulous. And so folks know the website is couragetorun.org. And early bird registration is ending at the end of this month, January 31st. So log on after you listen and get involved as a runner, as a volunteer, community captain. So thanks so much, Kelly, for this question, especially since I know that you're not in DC, and there are efforts underway in Chicago to have a run. So I'll definitely I'll connect you with those leaders shortly too, if you're interested. So for those that would love to participate, it very much is choose your own adventure. Just go on our website, couragetorun.org. You'll see that on the homepage that there's an option to click in your community, and just click there and it'll direct you to the registration page, which is very similar to if you're running in DC, you just choose 5K in your community option. If you're an emerging leader, meaning that you're 18 and under, there's a special rate for you. If you are a veteran, a service member, or a partner of a service member, there's also a specific rate for that, and thanks for your service. And I'll just explain a little bit how it started. Actually, last year I was calling and emailing all the women candidates running for Congress and state constitutional office, and many of them responded and said, Frieda, this is so great, but I kind of need to be in my district, like canvassing. And I'm like, duh, yeah, you do. So we created this option so they could participate, and it was amazing. Many of them turned them into social volunteer activations. Vanessa Enoch, who was running in Ohio 8, who unfortunately didn't win, she would have been the first woman to represent her district in Congress. She said, I am not a runner, but she turned hers into a women's door-to-door canvas, which was incredibly creative. Chrissy Houlihan, who's being sworn in today, turned hers into a volunteer and campaign team thank you run and a way of building team spirit and reducing stress and as they pivoted into the final stretch. So, and then other candidates, Kylie Overson in North Dakota, who's running for a tax accountant, she did it as her afternoon workout in solidarity with 5 other candidates running for statewide legislature who were running kind of in solidarity around the same time in their districts. Then we had a team in Wyoming made up of sheriff to school board candidates, mayors, and statewide legislative candidates, Republican women, Democratic women that were all running together in solidarity in Jackson County, and they're actually taking it statewide. So I share these examples to really note that you can create it as you would like. So just register if you're into doing it solo. You can even do it at your gym on the treadmill or as your morning walk with your dog or your cat, or your pig, I don't know. And if you're interested in getting more involved in organizing an actual run, we have built a toolkit, and we're developing a network of what we're calling community captains and also college campus captains. A lot of college campuses have written me and are organizing runs on their campus, using it as an opportunity to teach students about political organizing and political activism, and include a voter registration component. They're passing resolutions, inviting their local elected officials to really build what's very important for a sustainable wave. So this isn't an anomaly; it's really been the norm of women running for office. Is a pipeline of young people meeting and connecting with their elected officials, understanding governance as well as the organizing phase. So if you're interested, just email yes@couragetorun.org. And our first captain's call is actually next week. We have a toolkit that gives you the step-by-step of how to organize a run and sample materials, language for emails, Facebook posts, Twitter posts, imagery for Instagram, and all the works. So you aren't doing it alone. And then you can add organizing a 5K to your bucket list, which is actually incredibly fun and energizing.
And I love at the DC event how much you're supportive of parents, moms. So you have things for kids and even pumping stations, which is just amazing.
Yes. Yeah, when we were conceiving this, no pun intended, given the topic, really trying to create an experience and an environment that was the ideal one for women, addressing some of the traditional barriers that get in the way of women running for office, like childcare. Urban Sitter has graciously donated gift certificates that we can distribute to participants for childcare, for babysitting. We wanted to make sure that there was a place for nursing mothers and parents that was quiet for them to tend to their little ones while still being part of the experience. And so Mamava, which has both inflatable as well as lactation stations, you might have seen them, the kind of little pods at the airport, donated those. Mother Nation was one of our sponsors last year, and we had a sign making station with arts and crafts and amazingly glitter, which was incredibly ambitious. I must say, glitter. It's so amazing and beautiful, but it's one of those things like, how do you get it out of anything? But it was just fabulous. So there was a place, and we also had a kids dash for democracy for kids that were 8 and under, really getting them involved and proving to them, oh my gosh, I still get goosebumps thinking about these 2 little girls that passed the finish line, were given their medals, and it really communicated to them, you are strong, you are powerful, and you have value. And then seeing their mothers cross the finish line in a similar way, role modeling that to them, was just incredibly impactful, and we're doing it again. So if listeners have any ideas, or Kelly, if you have any ideas of how to kind of continue to build on the family affair and cohesion that we can integrate into the design and curation of these events, we are absolutely all ears. That's very, very important.
My kids like composing theme songs. Maybe they'll compose a theme song for you.
Oh my goodness, that would be amazing. Yeah, we have music is a big part of this. I mentioned the playlist earlier, and we actually had women DJs along the race route and live bands on set. So if there's a theme song, we'd love to weave that in, and I think that would just add to the experience and the joyfulness of the day.
Is there anything else that you want to make sure that we talk about?
I think those are the main things. April 13th, 2019 in Washington, D.C., and virtually across the country. So if you are, I think the next thing is that this is not just for women. This is about celebrating women and ensuring them on. And this is absolutely an inclusive initiative, irrespective of who you are and how you identify, whether that's gender, political ideology, ability. There's absolutely something for everyone. So if you're not a runner, awesome. Feel free to walk. If you don't want to do that, there's tons of volunteer opportunities, organizing events, helping with promotion, cultivating partners. If you represent an organization that's interested in getting involved on the local and state level, fantastic. In addition to our national partners, we also have state and local partners that similarly are supportive and fiercely committed to championing women in leadership and in the political sphere. Let's talk. We'd love to weave you in and get your membership involved and participating in a way that feels authentic for you. And let's just keep it going. This is our theme right now for this year, since I know in Chicago you have an upcoming election in February.
Yes.
And for many, which is very exciting. And in other places in the country, this is an off year as we're ramping up for the 2020 presidential election. And so we're really about training together, picking up the pace, and hitting a new PR, which in runner speak is personal record, to continue to increase the number of women not only running for office and getting civically involved as operatives, as volunteers, as candidates themselves, and increasing those numbers in elected office come the next election cycle. So let's do it.
All right. Excellent. I love it. And we will post information about it on our website as well so people can sign up. So Frieda, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me. And I'm really excited about this idea of getting physically healthy, which is
Yay,
something that I think is
it.
deeply needed right now.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Kelly, for having me. And to all of the listeners, just go strong, be you, and let's bring on that courage.
Thanks for listening to Two Broads Talking Politics. Our theme song is called Are You Listening? Off of the album Elephant Shaped Trees by the band Immunuri, and we're using it with permission of the band. Our logo and other original artwork is by Matthew Wethlin and was created for use by this podcast.